Do you like light turkey sandwiches? Then you'll love the new premium carb turkey and bacon sub at Subway restaurants. It's oven roasted just right, sliced thick just the way you like it. And just when you think it can't get any better, look out. It's got crispy bacon in there too. Order one today on your choice of freshly baked bread. Then select any veggies you want to make your premium carb turkey and bacon sub uniquely yours. It's a great sub for people who really like turkey. Subway, fresh is what we do.
Blog Talk Radio.
Well, good evening, folks. Thank you for tuning in with me once again to another edition of True Conservative Radio. And, of course, I am your host, the man they call Ghost, and I want to thank you for tuning in with me. Once again, folks, I don't have a set schedule for the program. You can call this a spontaneous special Saturday edition of True Conservative Radio. As a matter of fact, I would have done a show a lot sooner, but I am a businessman. I have an independent way of making my income. I have for some time. It took me a long time to get to that status, and to make the long story short, I was out on the road out here in Texas, making the rounds, so to speak. It's one of my favorite things to do. I love to do it during the summer, and I strongly advise you, whatever or wherever you are on the globe, if you've never been here to Texas, there are so much stuff to do out here. It's great. And I'm sure that people are listening in right now are kind of they're flabbergasted at the calmness of my voice, so to speak. They're probably flabbergasted, and they're probably saying, what in the blue hell is wrong with you, Ghost? You're not all uptight. You're not screaming. Well, let me tell you, you take yourself a road trip out the Texas Trail, so to speak. Go all around Texas, and you'll see some sights, and everything is great, so to speak. But, folks, we're back to the subject at hand here. The subject at hand, obviously, true conservative ideology, true conservative politics, and that should be at the forefront of everybody's agenda. I don't understand why everybody is so enthralled with what in the blue hell is happening in this presidential election. You know, I tried, as I was making the rounds out here in Texas, so to speak. I wouldn't necessarily call it a vacation because it was more for some business purposes, so to speak. But for the most part, I would like to consider it as a personal experience vacation, so to speak. Just being able to see the different things that life has to offer. You know, when you see certain backgrounds, when you see certain sights, certain scenic type just visions, so to speak, it's relaxing, it's calming. It gives one time to actually contemplate about certain things that obviously irks at a man. And one thing that I have thought about, and I've thought about it rather extensively, is why in the blue hell everybody out here is not talking about the issues. Of course, I come up on here every single time, folks. You can look back in the archive. Obviously, I get very, very redheaded, so to speak, talking about these issues, trying to discuss why people are completely oblivious about what in the blue hell is happening here in America. Obviously, I've discussed on many different occasions about the liberal transition that we're seeing in our social society, in our fiscal society, in our government, public education, our judicial system. I've said this time and time again, and yet nobody wants to talk about these issues. And I've taken time to actually think about why in the blue hell nobody is talking about these issues. And my suggestion to everybody out there that has sent me hate mail, because I obviously get hate mail on a consistent basis, folks. I have my email on the Blog Talk Radio Network profile website there, and that gives people, I guess, carte blanche to give me some emails and some four-letter words and a bunch of violence that they want to inflict on yours truly just because they have a different political perspective or a different social perspective than I do. And it's a shame that here we have this medium that is the Internet. I mean, the Internet is a powerful tool, folks. I mean, this is a tool that interconnects everybody on a global scale. No longer are local problems such trivial things as local problems. They can become global problems. You can amplify messages on here. The blogosphere out here, as much as I hate it, as much as it makes me want to puke to my stomach, but the blogosphere had an integral part in molding the liberalization of America. I mean, let me tell you, and I've delved into this previous shows, but the blogosphere is very important because it's actually given legitimacy to Nimrods that are out here spouting off a bunch of political romance, kind of like what Karl Marx did in the 1800s, and it actually gives resonance to radical liberal crap, feminist crap. And it's been a powerful tool to legitimize it, not only to the average, everyday American layman, but to actual intellectuals out here, people that are actually supposed scholars, people that are teaching the college children out here. This is what legitimizes it, folks. And this is what people are using the Internet for. This is an innovative medium, and we've got liberals utilizing it to infect the country with their liberal and feminist crap. You notice that here we are on the Blog Talk Radio Network, and for all you folks that are listening in, I thank you, whether you like me or don't like me. I actually try to provide some real political and social discourse on this program, even though I've got all these liberal, long-haired, hippie agitators that try to call me up or that try to go into my chat room and flap their fat fingers on the keyboard trying to disrespect me because they know I'm yanking them right out of the authoritarian closet. But let me tell you, the Internet, we should be having more social discourse on the Internet, political discourse on the Internet. But what are the majority of people on the globe just using the Internet for? They're using it to be a bunch of sexual deviants. They're using it for pornography. They're using it to become victims on Chris Hansen's To Catch a Predator, for Christ's sake. And this is what I'm talking about, folks. We're better than this, man. Humanity is better than this. Maybe I'm a Nimrod, folks. Maybe I'm a buffoonery for having an ounce of optimism for humanity, for Christ's sake. But here I am. I'm trying to give humanity the benefit of the doubt. I think that we're better than this, folks. I think we're better than this crap. I don't know, folks. I mean, this is what I've been thinking about these past couple of days. This is definitely what I've been thinking about. I've been thinking about why in the blue hell nobody else is talking about it, because we've been anesthetized with it, folks. Liberalism has been infected in our minds, folks. Obviously, you got the media, and I've said time and time again to all you folks out there, don't look at the media for any type of legitimate news or information source, for Christ's sake. It's a joke. I look at the media for political theater. Because that's exactly what it is, folks. It's political theater. They're tickling your ass crack and telling you it's the truth. That's what they're doing. And I'm not going to accept it, and you shouldn't either. In this day and age of the Internet, when you've got billions of library and billions of information, billions and billions of gigabytes and terabytes of information at your fingertips, and you're still utilizing the mainstream media for your news and information source, well, then you don't know your ass from your elbow, and with all due respect, you deserve a boot in the ass for being so goddamn ignorant. And excuse the folks out there that are taking offense to some of the language that I'm using out here, but let me tell you, we need some talk that's straight talk. I know that John Turncoat liberal McCain out there that's representing supposed Republican conservative America, he likes to talk about straight talk. But I'm giving you straight talk, folks, because let me tell you, it stinks out here. It stinks like liberal feminist horse crap. That's what it smells like out here, folks. We are morally bankrupt. Single-parent families are the majority of the day. And all people have to say is, oh, it's social evolution. That's what it is. Can you believe this crap? That's what the feminists try to tell me when I try to approach them with single-parent families being the majority of the day. They try to equate it to social evolution. And don't let these damn liberals do that. That's why I don't believe in evolution, folks. I don't believe that we came from a damn chimp. But that's what these liberals are trying to shove down our holes, isn't it, through the media. They've even hijacked the public education system to shove this down your child's throat. That you came from a damn animal. That's what these liberals want you to believe, that you're a damn animal, that you should be caged, that you don't know how to think, that you need to think how they want you to think. You don't deserve freedom. And that's what I'm for, folks. I'm for freedom. I don't know about you people. I really don't know it. I just don't understand what in the blue hell is happening here to America, and everybody just seems to be going by. Nobody seems to give two rats' asses about it. Everybody think that it's yippity-doo-yah, yippity-ki-yay, or whatever in the blue hell they want to call it, but it stinks like holy hell. It is a liberal hellhole, folks. And I'm not just saying that to be some sort of right-wing nut job out here, folks. Just take a look at the media. Just take a look at 7 o'clock primetime television on regular network television and see how many sexual acts and violent acts are shoved in your mother's and your father's and your daughter's and your son's faces. It's ridiculous. 646-652-4869 is the number to call. This is True Conservative Radio, folks. I'm trying to keep cool this evening. This is a spontaneous special Saturday edition of True Conservative Radio. But let me tell you, folks, we have to keep these issues at the forefront. Because let me tell you, you take a look at this media, they're trying to bombard us with ridiculous banter. They're trying to bombard us with information that has no significance in our everyday lives to divert us from the actual truth. And the truth is, I'm not accepting this liberal crap, and you shouldn't either, folks. And we're going to take a call here. Hello, you're on the air.
Hi, Ghost. It's No Compromise.
How you doing there, No Compromise? How you doing this evening?
I'm fine. I wanted to call in because what you're talking about is called postmodernism. That's what's going on in the world today. And basically what postmodernism is redefining the language. Then you get to redefine the history. Then you redefine the family. You redefine government. You redefine tolerance. And I talk about this a lot on my own show, but I wanted to show you, if you don't mind, a couple of definitions that have changed over the last 130-plus years. And you can see the evolution, quote-unquote, for lack of a better term, of how this is degrading our society. So here is two definitions of the word marriage, okay? The first definition is from an 1828 version of Noah Webster's dictionary, and the definition says this: marriage, the act of uniting a man and woman for life, wedlock, the legal union of a man and woman for life. Marriage is a contract, both civil and religious, by which the parties engage to live together in mutual affection and fidelity,
absolutely,
till death shall separate them. Marriage was instituted by God for the purpose of preventing the promiscuous intercourse of the sexes, for promoting domestic felicity, and for securing the maintenance and education of children. Now, that's the 1828 version. Now, this is today's version from the New World Order Dictionary. That's what I call it.
Okay.
The formal union of a man and a woman, typically recognized by law, by which they become husband and wife. A similar long-term relationship between partners of the same sex. A relationship between married people, or the period for which it lasts. Do you get that? For which it lasts. A happy marriage, emotion, the children from his first marriage. Now, I want you to notice something interesting here, okay?
Okay.
One, we have a definition of marriage, formal union, basically meaning law, okay? But it says it defines it as a happy marriage. And marriage is not about how we feel. It's about a contract. It's about, commitment, regardless of your feelings. And it certainly does not mean between man and man or
Absolutely
woman and woman.
Not.
Okay, so this is how language has been compromised over these many years. And another thing...
That is a vast contrast definition from the 1880?
28.
1828.
But more importantly, this New World Order definition came out of a children's dictionary.
Oh, that definition about a marriage having to do with two of the same sexes came out of a children's dictionary.
Yes, and I did that on purpose.
That's just horrible.
Yes.
I mean,
now
this is not being distributed to children on a mass scale, is it? This has got to be something that...
Yes. Yeah, it is. Yes, it is.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm just in shock here. I mean, you never get too shocked, but when you hear that they're actually involving children with the redefinition of words, so to speak, especially when it comes to the definition of marriage, it just makes me want to puke. It's no wonder our children are turning into a bunch of deviants out here.
And I don't want your blood pressure to go up, Ghost, because I know it's going to when you hear this stuff. But this is why I bring this up, because I was asking the same question you were. What in the heck is going on here? Why is it that when I'm having a conversation with a liberal, they don't seem to understand that the words that actually come out of my mouth? Well, there's a reason for that. It's because their definitions of those same words are different. So they're talking from a different dictionary than you're listening from. So it's important for us to understand the definitions that they are using so that we can deal with them on their level. Now, here's another definition, if you don't mind, of the word. Here's the word tolerance, okay? We hear a lot about tolerance, except for they're only tolerant if you believe in what they believe. They're not tolerant in what you believe, okay?
Hey, let me tell you something. I've been screaming my head off every day on this show about these damn screaming liberals out here. They're always preaching tolerance, but once you question their perspective, they're sitting over there pissing, man, wanting to silence you. I've been silenced on many different community sites because of this same tolerance situation that you're about to describe here. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. Don't apologize. It's all right. It's your show. It's the 1828 version of the word tolerance is defined as the power or capacity of enduring, or the act of enduring. So, enduring a sickness, enduring some troubles in your life, enduring the act of giving birth, enduring. That's what tolerance used to mean. Today, in the New World Order Dictionary, tolerance is the ability or willingness, willingness to tolerate something. In particular, the existence of opinions or behavior that one does not necessarily agree with. The tolerance of corruption, an advocate of religious tolerance. So they take the word tolerance, which is really a self-control issue. It becomes, it used to be about how we as a human being tolerate things in our own life, to this very vague term, which means if I'm willing to tolerate you, then that's what it means.
This is just unbelievable. And does this trace back to certain publishers? Because you have to go to the gatekeepers of this particular information.
What it traces back to is philosophy, and if you look at the timeline of philosophy, you see that our founding fathers were studying ancient philosophers like Aristotle, for example. Okay, and Aristotle has a very pure philosophy. Philosophy is like a mathematical equation. It only works one way, all right? And then what you see is this, I don't call it philosophy. I actually call it anti-philosophy when you get into, Locke and Kant and Hegel and all these other people. They begin to really defined philosophy as anything that's like what you're able to sense for yourself, instead of knowing that there's like truth outside of ourselves that's there and it's solid and it's there no matter what, you know. So that's where it comes from. And so when you start loosening up the rules of thinking, you know, it used to be logic, rhetoric, and grammar. That's what our kids were taught back in these days. Now they're taught, well, this is how you take a test. Okay? This is how this is. They're not really taught how to think so much as what to think. And so now you have all these definitions of these words that used to mean something but are now only mean something when you are saying them. It's your definition of that word. You see what I mean?
I understand exactly what you mean, and let me tell you, this is why I've been beating my head in mad, because of these liberals just completely being oblivious to the fact that they are bowing down to an authoritarian doctrine. This whole concept of tolerance, political correctness, feminism, everything that you're seeing that's being a separatist. I mean, it's meant to separate people. Mm-hmm. It's deliberately being done to subjugate people.
Yes,
and to bow down to an authoritarian style. And let me tell you, this is why I say that liberals are communists, because this is where all this derives from. The methods of agitation that these people are utilizing are straight out of the doctrine of, propaganda of Vladimir Lenin and Karl Marx.
It goes back further. It goes back further than that, because when you get into the French Revolution, that's really where it starts to formulate itself. And when we're looking at the root causes of things, we have to go all the way back to the tap root. And it's with these philosophers that you start to see the breakdown of language, and you start to see this emotional superiority over logic and rhetoric and reason and philosophy. And whenever we start to see people are driven by how they feel, okay, you are going to be it's going to be trouble no matter what. But I wanted to say one more definition here.
Certainly.
And it's on the word patriotism. I have this on my blog too. Which definition do you fall into? Now, the 1828 version of patriotism states, love of one's country, the passion which aims to serve one's country, either in defending it from invasion or protecting its rights and maintaining its laws and institutions in vigor and purity. Patriotism is the characteristic of a good citizen, the noblest passion that animates a man in the character of a citizen. Isn't that like beautiful?
I was just about to say, that I couldn't have said it any better myself.
Well, that's Noah Webster in 1828. Now, the New World Order version says this: patriotism, love of and devotion to one's country.
That's it?
That's it.
So, they purposely make the language vague so that, people can interpret it any which way. It's kind of like Nostradamus, so to speak.
Yeah.
Nostradamus, he writes four vague, kind of metaphorical lines, and, some crackpipe can kind of just interpret it any which way he wanted to.
Exactly, and that's the point of the devil's work. But, patriotism in the 1828 version is so defined that I can see a citizen taking up arms to defend their homeland because somebody's trying to invade it. And when you also read this definition, it's about protecting its rights and maintaining its laws and institutions with vigor and purity.
Absolutely.
We certainly don't have that now.
No, absolutely not. And let me tell you, it's just going down a bad direction. It's going down a direction that even 30 years ago, you wouldn't have even thought that we would be going down this direction. It's just unbelievable. And that's why I'm up on here hopping mad, because we need to start talking about these issues. Everybody's worrying about, voting for Barack Obama because he's got nice teeth, or voting for John McCain because he's a maverick or whatever. Well, whatever these images that people want to vote for people for, they need to start getting to the crux of the issue. They need to start understanding that this is our government, but we're falling asleep at the wheel because we're completely ignorant on how the mechanism of government works. And it's disgusting.
The quote-unquote leaders, and I'm sure that definition's been redefined as well, they're not leaders anymore. They're power-hungry. I mean, there are a couple of statesmen because, you know, there are a couple of statesmen in Congress, but for the most part, they're not anything except for power-hungry people. If you look at, you know, the way our government started out, we had statesmen. We didn't have politicians. See, and that's another redefinition of leadership in government is we used to have men who could speak. We used to have men who could put two and two together. We used to have men who were able to lead, and they were willing to lead to the point to die for their country.
I agree. And I just don't understand this new America that we're living in here. I mean, can you give me a point in history where this just influx of liberalism, feminism, all this separatist crap started separating human beings, started redirecting the whole concept of humanity, started redirecting, restructuring the family to single-parent families being the recipe of families today? Can you give me, in your interpretation, because you seem like somebody who's actually done some intense research on the root of this problem, which is very fascinating. That's why every time you call in my show, I give you the floor. But do you think that you can give me a specific time that this happened?
Well, I would say it was extremely pronounced probably in the middle 1800s, but really reared its ugly head during the Bolshevik era. That's really when communism took root in this country. I mean, really took root, because if you start studying some of the leaders in the Communist Party that were already here, what happened? We had the labor unions really show up powerful. We had Margaret Sanger, who basically was a eugenist and who said, oh, these blacks over here don't deserve life, they're human weeds, so let's make sure that we build these birth control centers in those neighborhoods, and same with the poor people neighborhoods. We're going to make sure that we distribute these birth control pamphlets because we want to limit these people from giving birth because we define them as human weeds. And this is also where you see the body of Christ, the church in America, shut down, because once they allowed Margaret Sanger into the church, and this is what happened, the way to get into the black community was to go into the black churches. Once you got Margaret Sanger in there saying, oh, you know, these women are overworked, you guys are poor, bloody blah. Here, we have the solution for you. Their birth numbers started going down. Same with all the poor folks that were living in these cities and whatnot. So that's, to me, where it really started rearing its ugly head, and communism took root in this country, and it has done nothing but progress. As you know, I'm doing my comparison of Barack Obama's blueprint plan for change to America on my blog, but I call it his red print plan for the destruction of America.
I've actually read that blog. It's very, very interesting. You bring out some points that obviously aren't highlighted in his change speeches.
It's nothing new. There's nothing new there.
I agree. We actually got another caller here. Let's see if they want to chime in on anything. Hello, are you on the air?
Hi.
Hello. How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Not bad. We're just sitting here discussing some issues about liberalism and feminism and other isms that have infected America and that have redesigned the American family and the American social structure.
Well, I'm Deborah J.M. Smith. I'm in the chat room there.
Okay.
And I just popped in, and I was hearing the lady talk. What is her name?
No
Tracy.
compromise.
Or no compromise, yeah.
Hi, and I'm just over here saying, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I thought, well, I have to call in. Because, do you know how many people do not understand what the word statesman even means?
I know.
Because they're being taught in schools to hug a tree and embrace your local homosexual and
oh my gosh, I agree.
Get rid of your light bulbs. They're doing all this and instead they're not teaching the kids about our government and they don't even know what a statesman is. And there was a test online that my daughters told me about, and apparently Harvard or something like that, the average grade was like in the 60s or 70s or something like that.
I saw that.
Did you see that? Did you see I think it was about the fourth question when it asked what kind of government our Constitution says we are? They didn't even have republic in there as an answer.
You know something else? You won't find the word Democrat or democracy in any of our founding papers at all. You go and look.
Right. They didn't. This was a test that was supposed to be given to college kids, and they didn't even have the right answer.
Right.
It's in our U.S. Constitution that our government shall guarantee us or ensure us, one of the other words, a Republican form of government, which is statesman.
Right.
That's what this democracy that they're boasting and saying, and every time I hear Bush, who obviously was the better choice of the two presidents, presidential elects or whatever you call them, but he himself speaks of this country being a democracy. I'm like, jeepers, get out your Constitution. We are not a democracy.
Well, what's unfortunate is that the liberals, especially these really, really pseudo-intellectual left-wing nut jobs, have infiltrated the education system. And these are the people that are in charge of purchasing the textbooks and the literature that are basically forced upon our children. And this is why you have a warped conception of what our government is. I find it funny that here we are, we're trying to shove this ridiculous standardized testing, which I particularly am not a big fan of.
No,
we're trying to, shove this down our children's throats, and yet we don't teach them how to participate in a government that was constitutionally given to them. They don't understand the mechanism of it, the bureaucracy of it, how bills are formed, how they're passed. They don't understand any of this. And now, when they get to a point where they're in college and they actually have to do this for a test, they don't even want to know how to do it.
Well, the test didn't even have the right answer. It was multiple choice, and it wasn't even there. I was like, oh, my word. See, both of my daughters, they were homeschooled, and so they had history books that taught history. And that's when I got to learn it, too, because I went to a public school and didn't learn it in a public school.
Right.
And as I was learning stuff with my kids, I was like, oh, my word. I spent all those years, so many times saying, oh, my word. Oh, my word. Do people know this? It's like, I just kept thinking, do people know this? Do people know this? And it's like, then people look at you when you tell them it's in there. They look at you like, well, it's just a document. It's just a document. It is a contract between the states.
They were just dumb old white guys that did it. That's what people are.
It's really unbelievable, and you see, you've got liberalism actually making people believe this nonsense, that this is somehow social evolution where we're going. That's. I've had a whole bunch of really devout liberals that have called me in my past shows, and that's what they define what is going on here, the phenomena of single-parent families, of the basically the stupefaction of America. If you have just an ounce of critical thinking, people look at you cross-eyed. People look at you like you're the moron.
We're a troublemaker and like we're a moron. Yes.
Yeah, because we want men to man up and not run around all over the countryside not, thinking with the wrong head, if you get my drift. I mean, it's like the whole family is disintegrated because of feminism and because men said, okay, I like that birth control because then I don't have to be responsible now.
I completely agree with that as well, because let me tell you something. I'm just disgusted with the amount of sexual promiscuousness that is happening in America, both at the teenage and youthful scale, but let alone at infidelity, at males and females in marriages, just completely disintegrating that sacred bond between a man and a woman just to go out and just participate in sexual deviant activity because the social environment is inducing them to do so. And this is my view. I mean, nowadays, if you haven't had an affair on your spouse, there's something wrong with you.
You adultery phobe. It took you guys a long time to You adulterer phobe.
Exactly. Fornication phobes. That's a good one.
We might as well make up our own language, right? I mean, they're doing it.
They do. I mean, they just make up all these words, all these things, and you know what they do is they talk about it in a way like what is right is wrong, and they give it that they give it that tone of voice, that overtone. And I mean, Roger Baldwin, okay, the founder of the ACLU, and apparently there were two other people, but he was the main one.
Right.
He was a communist, for one thing. He was a coward. He sat for a year in an American prison because he would not go and defend our country in World War I. And then he claims he's going to do all this to protect our freedoms, our liberties. It's like he didn't go fight for our liberties. He was a coward.
Right.
And let me tell you, I'm glad you brought up the founders of the ACLU and their communist relations, because they are deeply rooted in communism. That they have no ounce of any type of justice in their body other than to provide agitation to assert their authoritarian communist views. This goes back a long way to Frankfurt University, which redefined the methods of agitation to take over a capitalist state, to infiltrate a communist authoritarian state. It sounds ridiculous, but the more and more you see the things that are happening, the phenomenon that's happening of the stupefaction of America, the restructuring of the family, what is now become, or what used to be the social ills of America are now the social norms. It's really, really disgusting, and it's unfortunate that whenever somebody like myself attempts to facilitate any type of discourse on these subject matters, I'm looked upon as I'm the bad guy because I'm trying to define some sort of moral ethos back in American society.
Which is exactly what needs done, because if we want this country healed, Scripture says, God says that we who are called according to His purpose, so believers, born-again believers, we are the ones to turn to God and turn from our wicked ways. And if people don't want to even admit that what they're doing is wrong, sleeping with their neighbor's wife or whatever. I mean, if they're not willing to admit that they're being lazy, complacent, I mean, there's so many other wicked things that have hurt this country. And I'm a firm one on telling the Christians, and I'm talking true Christians, not just anybody who calls himself a Christian, to be able to say, okay, what are we doing wrong? There's a lot of laziness, and there's a lot of, people not doing what they should be doing right within the church, and it sickens me. It just sickens me. How many Christians, you know what I mean? They take no responsibility for their kids. So many Christians take no responsibility for their kids. They throw them off into public school and have nothing to do with their education. They don't even look into it to see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's because modern-day public education has turned into modern-day daycare. I mean, nobody cares about what's going on in school. That's why you have public education utilizing the fact that parents don't care about their education as a hurdle, or I shouldn't say as a hurdle, but as a tentacle to try to get into the home. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but I have gotten email from parents that have told me that because, these people are working hard trying to maintain sustenance for their families out here, they don't have the time to actually put forth on some of their children's homework, so to speak. And
Can I speak on that?
Go ahead.
I've heard that too, and that's bull crap. Let me tell you, my husband and I, we homeschooled our kids, and we have had a one-income family the whole time. We have done without the fancy vacations and all the toys and the flat-screen TVs and all the fancy cars in the 3-car garage and the $500,000 house. Yes, we have, gone without all of that. But, in the end, when I sit here in my home that I can afford to pay for, and I have a brand new Jetta TDI diesel sitting in my driveway that I can afford to pay for, what is more important, what I can pay for and educate my kids, or have both parents working so we can have the fancy vacations? I don't understand why there's an equivalence there.
I was just at a family event today, and I was talking to some neighbors that were at the event.
What's more important?
And they didn't get it, what you're saying right there. They didn't get it, because I was saying the same thing that you're saying. I went without certain things. I still don't even have a dishwasher. I still live
now you're going too far now. So.
I still live in the 1,500 square foot house that we got when we had only been married a little over a year, because I chose to stay home with my kids.
Right.
And people think, I went years without a car of my own, because my husband had to have the one car that we had to get to work. Okay, I went years, and it's like, they look at us like we're odd, like we're strange, that we'll go without certain things. But you know what? We have far more than they ever had, don't we?
Yes, and another thing that they don't realize is that when you calculate what it costs for a female to work in the home, come on, people. Come on. You got to pay somebody to clean your house. You got to buy clothes. You got to have another car. You got to pay for the fuel. You got to pay for your lunches, and there's all of these costs, and my question is why? What's so important about having two incomes?
Well, it depends on.
We've taken over Gosa's show,
No. The reason I'm staying quiet is because I've been saying this all along, and I've taken criticism. I've gotten emails from feminists and that sort of thing, because what you two respectable ladies are saying here on this program. This is not, something that everything that I've been saying, you women are saying it, or you ladies are saying it, and it's not anything that's a bad thing. It's just going back to way we used to have some moral ethos in society, and we used to legitimately have respect as far as the sexes for one another and that sort of thing.
And it's not that a woman cannot earn money, okay?
Of course not.
It's not that a woman couldn't have a part-time job when she's got kids, okay? But it's biblical that a woman's most important job when she has children is an overseer of the home. And it's the man's primary job to bring home the income that's needed to survive, to live. And that's, a man who cannot provide for his family, that's not a good situation. And it's like the women shouldn't take that away from their husband either.
No.
But my thing, because both my daughters are in college now. Well, the one's graduated and she's in grad school. Okay, well, she's starting grad school in a month or so. But I told them both, I said, you want professions that you can go down to part-time when you have kids. And the only reason they're going to be able to do this, all glory to God, is because they're going to stay living next to each other and next to who will be grandma. And we'll together as a family, we will raise the grandchildren, and we will all work together so that they can be homeschooled. I didn't have that luxury. I was the first-generation homeschool mom in my family. So I had to be home all the time. okay? But if they work together and they share with their kids and we work as a family unit and extended, and there's another thing. It's like the extended family unit is out the window? No,
Exactly.
we're bringing it back.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And let me tell you, I am really close with my family. I'm not some spring chicken myself. I've got many children, grandchildren, and that sort of thing. And there's nothing like keeping it together, because that's what gives every human hope to continue on. You know, that's the essence of humanity. Even if you want to debate it, and this is why I tell even the most atheistic liberal to call me up, and I'll debate them on their own evolutionary wavelength, if you will. If you look at the geological digs, the anthropology records, it goes to show you, the Sumerians, I mean, these people had a man and a woman,
right,
that raised a family and extended that way forward.
Mhm. That's right.
And I just don't understand why when it comes to these liberals, why they can't look at that documented proof and understand that there is a certain, whether you want to call it instinctive, biological, however you want to define it, there is a record that shows that there is a natural effect between a man and a woman being together, raising a family, and actually providing a decent environment conducive to progress the name, so to speak, or progress the family. And with that, you take with you family stories, family tales, and that sort of thing.
Well, it's
Exactly.
biblical. It's biblical, the the roles of the mother and the father, and I tell both my girls, I said, you make sure that you marry someone. You don't even start to get involved with someone who is not working towards a career, because of course they're in school technically still, the college and grad school. I said, and that's probably where they'd meet somebody. I said, you make sure that they will be able to take care of you. You don't even get involved with someone who would not be a good provider.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Because that's who's got to support you.
That's
Any
right.
money you make should be extra. It should not be mandatory for food on the table.
That's what I tell my friends too, because we just had a couple of our friends, they've been married, they're past the newlywed stage, and they're having their first baby soon, but I told him, I said, well, he told me she's going to go work, and I said, make sure you don't depend on her income at all. I mean, because she's going to have a baby, and she's not going to work, and, you don't want to be in a position where you're depending on that, because then she's going to have to work to keep up on your bills. And so I hope he listened, but it's really disgusting and sad what's going on. And like I said before, Ghost, all we can do is be that light, and be that example out there so that people can see. Marriage was never meant to be an institution where you get to go in there and act any way you want. Marriage is there to make you a person, make you a human being, give
Absolutely.
you manners, give you patience, give you these gifts that, that are intended for you that you can do. It's like people think marriage is in there to have fun and to say and do whatever you want. And if you're not ready for your pregnancy, you can just abort it. All of these stupid things that are really destructive to you as a human being. Marriage is there to make you an adult.
I agree.
So it's like
I couldn't say it any better myself. And like I've suggested to everybody out there that's probably finding it hard in life, they just need to look to their family. They need to look at their children and understand that, whatever it is, whatever hardships, whatever bad times that are inflicted upon us, whether it's because of ill-advised politicians, government, corporate America, whatever it may be, you have your family, and that's all there is to it. I mean, there's nothing that can take that away from you. If you instill good morality, if you make them understand that there is more to life than this consumeristic game, if you will, then that's when you've accomplished something as a human being. I think that you get that much closer to divinity when you start understanding that things are a lot more than the material world.
things are more than just about you. You know, it's above you. It's about, you know, creation and, like you said, moving on, you know, carrying on your name and whatnot. But, geez, marriage is not there for a party time. It's hard work. Marriage is not always fun.
Absolutely.
You know, it takes work. It takes commitment. It takes a desire to love your spouse, and no matter what, you know. So I don't have I just, this whole idea of divorce being so easy that it's so, I just don't understand why our court system, maybe this is it, because I've thought about this, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I really believe that the whole easy divorce was created by lawyers to keep generating jobs for them, to keep generating money. It wasn't about, you know, anything else except for a jobs creation program. And so I really believe that it's time that mature, loving adults start campaigning to make adultery quite illegal.
You know, I can't believe that you have suggested that, because I actually suggested that in my first show on this program, on the Blog Talk Radio, in my very first show, that we should make, you know, getting divorce illegal. And people thought I was the American Taliban.
That's for two reasons, though, Ghost. I mean, I would never want a female or a child to stay in a marriage or family where they're being abused, and if they've been abandoned. Those are the only two scriptural reasons to leave.
Or cheated on, if your spouse is...
Oh, obviously, yes, I agree.
Well, that's
I also,
adultery, yes.
In that same show, I also said that, you know, something should be done about adultery as well. Now,
yes.
Now, in some states, I think in some states it is still illegal. I know I wanted to find out.
Well, sodomy is too, but they're doing it all the time, so I don't know if it's enforced. That's the thing. I mean,
but boy,
adultery needs to be enforced.
But they'll go after the homeschoolers. They'll find some old law, because goodness knows, gotta do something about the homeschoolers.
It's unbelievable.
Well, I just think it's time to bring back, what do they call it? Right now they call it, what kind of divorce is it now? It's
no fault.
Yeah, no fault divorce. I think
on demand.
Yeah, I think it should be banned, and we need to bring back, you know, the laws that were prior to the jobs creation program for lawyers, and bring back some stiff penalty for any person that commits adultery and gets busted in their marriage. Because if you were a business partner and you went outside that contract in a business relationship, you would be sued in no time flat. But when you have a family and one of the spouses commits adultery, oh, who cares? He gets 50%, she gets 50%, and the kids are destroyed. Who cares? It doesn't matter. We're on an assembly line. Let's get through it.
What we should do is we should tell the lawyers who are wanting to make the money off the divorces, we should tell them instead, you know, why don't they switch it over and make money off of suing those who commit adultery with a married person?
Oh, you mean like civil lawsuit against the mistress or the mister or whatever?
Yes.
I don't think they can under our current law these days. I just don't see...
That'd be a good law to get, wouldn't it? Boy, maybe some people would think...
There needs to be something done, definitely, on the judicial level, because this is just too easy to get divorces. It's not uncommon now to have about 4 or 5 divorces. It's not uncommon now for, you know, females to have, you know, 4 or 5 different babies from 4 or 5 different fathers. It's just... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. If you teach the kids, like, okay, my oldest daughter was engaged, okay, but because she knows the seriousness of marriage, and she was raised being taught the seriousness of marriage, that you can't, I taught them, I don't care what the government says, this is what God says. You can't just be married for a year or two and, oops, this just doesn't feel right, and go get a divorce, because we have, you know, someone who's obviously higher than our government to, you know. So she took this very seriously, and something kept eating at her that it just wasn't the right thing, and she did finally call it off for good. Now, if she was raised in a household that, you know, well, mom had 5 divorces and dad had 10, and, you know, and we don't think there's anything wrong with divorces, well, then she probably would have married the guy and ended up in a divorce. So sometimes it's what they're raised like, and the family unit is, I think, the smallest form of government. Okay, and so,
it's not a democracy; it's a dictatorship.
I'd like to think it's a republic.
Not in our house, it isn't. You do what you're told.
No, I mean with the parents between each other.
Oh, that couple. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, and then we do what is best for our kids, and but they can come to us and talk to us and let their grievance be known, what they might not, you know what I mean? But ultimately, the parents make the decision.
Pass some legislation.
Yeah. And but this is one of the reasons that obviously, the people with the communist, socialistic, which begins often with the Democrat view, this is why they want to break down the family unit.
It's more than obvious, and I've suggested that the reason that these liberal / quasi-communists that are basically inserting these subtle methods of agitation on the country, the reason they're trying to make the family extinct is because it makes a populace that much more dependent on government.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So look at all the single moms who are so dependent on the government.
And
Doesn't
it's
that give you the creeps?
I'm sorry?
Doesn't it just give you the creeps that, we have allowed this infiltration into our country because we failed as individuals to think things through, rationally think things through, and this is why it's happening. We've redefined everything. We call evil good and good evil now, and we don't think outside of ourselves. It's always about how we feel. It's always about if it makes us feel uncomfortable or, if it's going to advance our cause. There's never this, love for, our America and, the children. How's this going to affect the children? We never think about that. It's really disgusting. We've allowed this to happen. And I have to tell you, Ghost, I believe in the American people. I believe in our republic form of government. I believe in what Scripture says about the family and about how to run your family. But I just don't think that America can recover. I just don't think it can.
I have hope that she can because of the Scripture that says, if my people who are called according to my name shall turn to me and humble
that's
themselves.
the problem, though, is that the church or the body of Christ has 50% divorce. It has just as much abortion going on in it as the world does, and that's the problem.
And they
we have, if you look in your neighborhoods, listeners, you go drive around and see how many churches are now mosques. That has to tell you something.
Are now what?
Mosques.
Oh, seriously? As in Muslims?
Yes, mosques. Mosques. Islam is taking over all these empty churches. Look around, because those churches are now art galleries. Those churches are now clothing stores. What is going on? We're losing our foundation. This is why I really, I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, this is one of the reasons, I won't vote for McCain. I'm probably gonna write in Duncan Hunter. Is that the right-wing conservative Christians? It's like, well, McCain is the best we can do. You know what I mean?
No, McCain was put in there by the media and the Republican Rhino Party.
Exactly.
Because he's really a liberal. And
absolutely. And I'm really glad that you say that, Deborah, because I've been screaming mad on this program since it began. That and I remember when Duncan Hunter, Fred Thompson, true conservatives were out there on the ticket in the Republican primaries, they were deliberately suppressed by the media. They were deliberately suppressed by their own party from sufficient fundraising opportunities, sufficient media outlets. And I think that was a deliberate attempt, because that goes to show you that in this election, whether you vote for John McCain or Barack Hussein Obama, you're getting liberalism on either end. It really doesn't matter who you vote for.
So I'm standing my ground, and I'm saying to the right, okay, I'm saying give me someone worth voting for.
The Rhino Party.
I'm like, give me someone worth voting for, or I'll write in somebody. And But what I'm also doing is I'm saying, people say, oh, you're throwing away your vote. And I'm like, no. I'm voting for standing by God, standing with God, no matter what. And I believe that faith that God has given me, he's going to do something with it. Something's going to happen, okay? Because that's, God's over this whole entire picture. And I don't know how he's going to do it or what he's going to do. I just know he's going to do it.
Well, I'm not voting for McLean. That's what I call him, because I think he was brought in by the media. He was brought in by the Rhino Party, which also, if you study the more leftists that are in the Republican Party, I mean, they come right out and say, we're taking over the Republican Party. We're not going to tell you everything that we're planning on doing, but we are going to take over the Republican Party.
It's obvious.
Yes, it is obvious, and it's not a conspiracy theory. It is actual fact, because I've read some of these websites. It's a plan that they are doing, and they're definitely doing it. But anyways, I wrote this blog piece called FUD, Fear, Uncertainty, and Disinformation, about this whole idea where you're going to just throw away your vote if you don't vote for the candidate recognized by the Republican Party. I'm not playing that game anymore. I've done this far too long now. I don't care what these people pressure me to do. I'm not going to vote for McCain. If the Republican Party loses, too bad. You liberals out there decided you were going to take over the Republican Party, so you get what you deserve. You should have gone over to the Democrats, and you should have conservatized them instead of coming into the Republican Party and liberalizing our party. So too bad. You're going to lose. I don't give a crap, and there's no way. And let me tell you something. I don't know, but I think maybe one or two people who are voting for McLean. I don't know that many people in my sphere of influence or my circle of friends who is voting for this guy.
Well, I know a lot of people.
Put a dress on him. He looks just like Rudy, I think.
Well, and what's unfortunate about it is that, the Republican Party at this point are basically overlooking the root principles that made the Republican Party, and it was conservatism. Conservatism was the base of the party, and the rhinos, or the leftists that have hijacked the Republican Party, have made a deliberate attempt to make conservatives and the whole conservative movement look like a bunch of nut jobs out here. And I think that, the John Hagee situation, a couple of other religious leaders that they've been naming here in the past recent times on the media, they're trying to put a religious fanatic face on conservatism when, in actuality, conservatives just want to save the family.
Oh, I can't begin to tell you how many people will say to me, as a right-wing conservative Christian activist, that I'm a nut. Oh, got to get that crazy Christian church woman out of the picture here. Look at her, she's a nut. And I'm going to tell you, this is being said by people who are supposedly right-wing Christians.
Of course. Of course.
I'm sorry. I was going to say that the FUD campaign is purposely targeting Christian conservatives to persuade them to not vote for, to vote for people like McCain or whatever. But it's disingenuous. It's deceptive. It's not going to work, because you can't tell somebody who's a true Christian conservative, if you don't vote for McLean, we're going to lose America, because the Christian conservative actually have a foundation. Okay, it's the candidate who doesn't have a foundation. Why else is he leaning back and forth, taking it up the rear end from all these liberals? Because in the spirit of I don't know what you call it, cohesiveness or whatever the heck they say, but
the false unity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they've redefined that now too. I should look that up. Thank you for that word. I'm going to look that up.
It is definitely false unity, because let me tell you, I remember when the Republican Party used to mean something. It used to stand for family values. Mm-hmm. I mean, it used to stand for getting rid of the filth and all the perversion that you're seeing in everyday mainstream media, you know, the images that are fed to our children out here. Nowadays, you look at the Republican Party, you look at what McCain stands for, you look at what Barack Hussein Obama stands for, it seems to me like a damn carbon copy, with all due respect.
Well, and what they're doing is they're freaking out. They're panicking. The whole reason that people are voting for McCain is a panic. They're not trusting God. They're thinking, you know, they're like those people in the boat when Jesus was sleeping. They wake him up. They're like, hey, why are you sleeping? Look at this. But Jesus just spoke words and the storm calmed. And God never tells us that we can vote for the lesser of two evils.
I'm not voting, no.
And we're to do all things unto Him.
Evil.
Huh?
You still get evil, and I'm not going to go to that game anymore because I've heard it for so long, and all it does is get worse. I mean, I have been a member of the King County Republican Party in Washington State, Seattle, okay? And I have seen the Republican Party go so far left that I can no longer put any more time into it. I am done. I can't do this anymore. It's, you know, they don't listen to you. As a matter of fact, nobody's listening to us anymore, are they?
Absolutely not. I mean, this is what I've been saying. I've been banned from MySpace because of my political persuasion. I've been taken off the air several times on Blog Talk Radio because of the things. Oh, well, I mean, because I'm an anti-feminist, I'm an anti-liberal, and this is all I say on a consistent basis. You can check my archive. I've been saying this since the beginning, and because I guess the social perception of what modern-day politics should be liberal, should be this so-called political correctness, should be this so-called tolerance that these liberals like to talk about. But once you start questioning the integrity of what this liberal agenda is, that's when they want to start, you know, silencing you. I mean, you know, one minute I'm you know, blogging on MySpace. I've got a player broadcasting my show on MySpace. The next minute I'm completely off. My profile's gone, and they told me that I guess my content was offensive or something to somebody.
Oh,
now you see, when we were over on, I had a ministry on AOL for 5 years, and when it got purchased by Time Warner, that's what happened over there. We Christians in a Christian forum were no longer welcomed, and the homosexuals and Wiccans, and they would come in and they would report us and say that our Christian speech in a Christian forum was offensive to them, and we were the ones that kept getting violations. I'd get violation for putting Bible scripture in a Christian room.
It's unreal.
Yeah.
I mean, and let me tell you, this is what's going on. This is why I come up on Blog Talk Radio Network and let everybody understand that this type of censorship is just the beginning. You know, and it's not. I'm not advocating any type of lunacy out here. I'm just trying to advocate the family. I'm just trying to advocate moral ethos. I'm trying to bring to light that single-parent families are now the majority of the day, and yet, because I'm critical about modern-day social society, because I'm bringing to light the root causes of this phenomena, this is why I am, I guess, a target by individuals that are in the corporate echelon of some of these corporate entities out here, and because they have the authority and the power just to go ahead and wipe me off their website, they do so. It's unreal.
Well, I don't know. I'm not voting for McCain. He does not represent a lot of my views, maybe a couple of my views, but he doesn't represent even half of my views. He's dissed the Christians, and it's really interesting because they diss the Christians and then they blame the Christians if the candidate doesn't win. It's like, you know, wait. First you want our vote. You don't want our vote. You don't want to stand next to us. You say things about some of our leaders that aren't true. And then when we say, okay, fine, you don't need our vote, obviously, because you're getting your vote from the Hillary camp, then you get pissed off at us because we don't vote for your candidate. So what is it?
And if we do vote for them and then things go wrong, who's to blame? It's those Christians who voted him in.
Unreal.
Well, anyways, Ghost, I'm going to let you go. And
Okay, I just wanted to see if y'all wanted to plug any of your shows or anything of that nature.
Yeah, what is your show?
Mine is on Thursdays at 12. It's called No Compromise Radio. And let's see, I'm actually on a pretend vacation, so I'm not really hosting the show. I'm going to have my friends Yehuda and Bob hosting the show, and they're going to be talking to Noni Darwish, the author of Now They Call Me Infidel, and Phyllis Chesler, who used to be a rabid feminist, but is now a woman's advocate. So I know, Ghost, just, listen to her, okay? But
I just clicked on your profile, and No Compromise is your profile, right? So is this where your show is through as well?
Yes.
So if I just click on you as a favorite, then I'll be able to find your shows.
Well, I think if you click on the favorite thing, then it actually tells you when the show's coming up. I'm not sure. Is that true, Ghost?
Well, if you actually go to the Blog Talk Radio profile site, if the person that's hosting the shows actually puts shows ahead of time, you should see when the next show should be on. I unfortunately just do it spontaneously, and I really don't have a set schedule for my show.
Well, I'm going to put you both in my favorites. Now, mine's just, it's my name. If you see my name there, Deborah J.M. Smith. And, I'm seeing your icon, Ghost. The skeleton. Yeah. He opens up his mouth. I'm like, I didn't realize that we could put animated ones in there. Let me see if this is going to work. There we go. That's cool.
Okay, so you have a show, too, then.
Yes. Now, I'm trying. I've had a lot of impromptu ones like what Ghost does, and but what I'm hoping to do on Tuesdays and Thursdays is at 11 Eastern time. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping to have ones that are a little more structured so that I'm cool with leaving them on, because I like to do impromptu ones, but then I like to delete them for several reasons. But one of the reasons is that I like people to be able to feel they can talk and not have their words be archived forevermore. But yeah. But I'm hoping to have some structured ones on Tuesdays and Thursdays that don't go in directions that would make it where I wouldn't, leave it on. And it also helped learning that I can put shows at private and then put the link myself out on a page. Because did you know that you can actually have your last non-private show open up automatically on a web page?
Yes.
And so that was my main reason I was deleting a lot of my shows, is because I would have a scripted show that I wanted to open up on informingchristians.com. That's my website. And so I had to delete any show after that to get it to open up the one I wanted. But then I learned I can put them at private and just post the links. So for me, a lot of it's just getting used to what we can and can't do software-wise over here. How long have you guys been here?
Well, I've been here for a little bit. No Compromise has been here for a while as well.
Well, I've only been here a couple months.
Oh, really?
I'm a newbie.
Oh, I see. Well, I've been here for a good long time. Unfortunately, all the Republicans that are on the Blog Talk Radio Network seem to dislike me because I see right through the facade of what is.
Well, no wonder we're getting along so well. I'm so hated over here by so many of these people. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and let me tell you, they will continue to hate on you, and let me tell you, that is liberal agitation right there. That goes to show you that the Republican parties is now a bunch of liberals.
Well, suddenly I feel a whole lot better.
Well, Deborah, it's what's the show called?
Deborah J.M. Smith, my name, Debra J.M. Smith, and then I type in Informing Christians, but I think the actual name is just me.
Okay. And no Compromise. You're on vacation, but when is the usual time for your show?
Thursday at noon, and as soon as I come back, I'm working on switching that to 2 p.m. I just think that East Coast people would appreciate that better.
What time zone? Is that East
Pacific
Coast?
Daylight Time.
Pacific.
West Coast time.
Okay, so that would be about 5 or 6 here.
5 o'clock.
Okay.
But
That's
if you
one
hit
thing
the
nice-
reminder thing, it'll just come on in your time zone.
Yeah, that's one thing that's really nice about over here is it does adjust to our time zones. It's not like eBay where you got to figure out the time. Do you ever do eBay?
No.
eBay does the Pacific time, and I'm always having to figure out, okay, so what time is that East Coast? So it is nice that Blog Talk adjusts the time for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, well, I hope y'all continue to listen in. I'm going to go off on a little bit of a rant about, actually, there's a whole bunch of other callers. I'm just looking at the switchboard here. There's a whole bunch of other callers here.
Can I hang on with you for a while?
Certainly. Let's see what's going on here.
I'll see you later, guys. Bye.
I hope to see you again.
All right, is that no compromise?
Yeah.
All right, no compromise. I'll see you.
All right, bye.
Well, how nice to meet the both of you.
Absolutely. We're gonna take some more calls here. We got Mr. Lumberlimb. Are you there, Mr. Lumberlimb? Well, obviously, Mr. Lumberlimb is just sitting there. Okay, we're just gonna hang up on him. Hello, we got somebody else on the line. Hello, are you there?
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello, how you doing?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What are you doing? Welcome to this is.
I wanted to say that Jesus Christ is a homosexual, and he wears a dress.
Oh, good
and Christianity is stupidity.
Wait,
I just have to wonder when a person says something so stupid, you know?
Well, now, hold on just a second. Hold on.
Jesus in the book of Matthew said that he was going to come back in the time of the disciples 2,000 years ago.
Sir, hold on, sir. Now, I understand that maybe you have some disdain for Christianity, Catholicism, whatever it is that you got, hatred towards. But let's try to, sit here and discuss it as rational individuals and don't act like a jerk ass, with all due respect.
Sir, I'm not a jerk ass. Jesus is.
What's your need to call in to people who worship Jesus and say such a thing? I mean, what's your need for that?
Because he's a ghost.
Does this make you mature? Does this make you cool or something? How old are you?
Well, you see, I'm 35.
You're 35 and behaving this way?
Yeah, I'm just listening to y'all saying, incorporating this Jesus Christ malarkey.
Well, if you don't believe if you do not believe that Jesus is who he says he is, why does it upset you? Do you go to the mall and tell off Santa Claus?
Because Christians kill people and Catholics do according to history.
Well, again, do you...
Prove me wrong.
Hold on. Let her speak there, feller.
I heard Santa ran over someone with a reindeer, and you hear that Christians, I'm going to tell you right now, real Christians, we don't kill like what you're claiming, okay?
I want you to explain to me what a Christian is.
Many people call themselves Christians and are not. But again,
you're
35 years old and you're acting like this. Do you go tell off Santa in the mall?
Agitation is of the weak minded. Don't bother with that malarkey.
Do you go into the Muslim rooms? Do you go into the Muslim rooms? You do realize who flew the airplanes into our buildings. Do you go into Muslim rooms and tell them off for their Allah?
Do you know what Allah means? I'm not Muslim, but I know what Allah means. Tell me what Allah means.
Hold on just a second. We're not getting into a discussion about Islam here.
No, I'm just asking, does he...
No, she's not Allah. What is Allah? What is Allah?
No, we're not going to go that direction, but let me tell you something, sir. What's your name, by the way, sir?
You can call me Lumberlimb.
Lumberlimb. Okay, so you're Lumberlimb?
I'm Lumberlimb.
All right. So, look, Mr. Lumberlimb, why exactly do you feel that you have to call up on a show? Now, I agree that you should have your right to feel whatever it is that you want to feel. This is America. You have the right to free thinking and that sort of thing. but you were just sitting here making an assumption about agitation, and yet you're calling up to my show, you dumbass buffoonery, with all due respect, sir. You're calling my show
your question accordingly.
And you are agitating my show, which I don't appreciate there, Lumberlimb, you fruity bastard.
Because I appreciate that comment. However, if every Christian actually read the Bible, they would be worse than the Muslims. Because it says to kill people that work on Sabbath, to kill any Gentile. Did you read your Bible? Did you read your Bible? Read your Bible.
Can you hear me?
All right, Lumberlimb. All right. Now she wants to respond to what you just said.
Lumberlimb, listen. The reason I ask you if you go into other faith-belief places and say what you say is because I have never experienced someone like you who goes anywhere else but in.
You experienced the long 9-inch Jesus Christ.
Excuse me, Lumber. Because I've never experienced someone like you who goes anywhere else but to Christian places and does what you're doing. Because
Catholicism is ridiculous. Christians, Baptists, Lutherans.
Hold on, Lumberlimb.
Because they read their book and they follow it. They're not hypocrites like Christians and Catholics. Dracula was a Catholic.
Hold on a second, Lumberlimb.
Lumber is that you pick only Christians to do this to because somewhere inside you know that Christianity is the right way to go, and you're angry.
Where is that?
You're angry.
Look, Lumberlimb. First of all, Lumberlimb, hold on. First of all, I don't appreciate how you're trying to give legitimacy to Islam out here, with all due respect. I mean,
I'm not giving no legitimacy.
Listen, now, what it sounds to me, and I'm just trying to look at this from a third-party perspective, it sounds to me that you're an Islamist.
Well, let's have a party, Mr. Ghost.
You sound like an Islamist that's trying to disrespect anybody who's different from Islam.
I'm from Texas. There's no Muslims in Texas, and
let me tell you something. I'm from Texas. I'm from Texas, and if you keep talking to me that way, we can meet somewhere and have ourselves, a couple of fisticuffs, and I'll stomp your teeth so far down your Muslim throat you'll be able to chew your own,
I'm not Muslim. If you want to get down, Mr. Ghost, well, we can do the hokey pokey, okay?
Well, I just want you to get to the point, you you got a young lady here, Deborah, who's trying to...
Let me explain myself. In the Bible, Jesus never said that he was the Son of God, the Son of the Lord. They call him Lord. Lord is like my liege or my king. He never not once said that. He never said he was the Son of God. He told the Pharisees, even though I bear false witness, my witness is true. He said, I'm a goddamn liar. Paul said I was God. Please don't kill me because I learned dress and sandals.
Lumber, it's because you're yelling. It's really hard to understand how.
Yeah, Lumber, you're yelling. You gotta calm your ass down.
Okay, I'll
calm your ass down.
Lumber,
can you hear me now? Jesus never said he was the Son of God.
Hold on, calm your ass down. Calm your ass down, okay? Hold on. We want to understand you because look,
I will ride you like a bull, okay?
Listen,
I will ride you like a bull.
I caught some of what he was saying, and Lumber. First off, Jesus absolutely spoke as the Son of God, and about.
Where did he say that? Where? You read the Bible. Where did he say that? Show me.
Hold on, just a second.
Lumber.
Lumber. We had to put Lumber on mute there. Now, Lumber, now that you're on mute, okay, you got to calm your ass down first of all. You sound like, with all due respect, you sound like you got the phone halfway down your throat. We can't understand you, okay? Take a couple of steps back. Take a few breaths, okay? We understand that you're trying to make a point by, providing some sort of scripture, trying to do this, trying to do that. We want to get to your point. Now, we're going to let Deborah make her point, and then we're going to put you on the phone. Hopefully, when we put you back on the horn over here, you don't sound like you got your phone shoved up your colon pipe. All right? Now, let's go ahead. Deborah, I'm sorry. Go right ahead and make your point known, and then I'll go ahead and put Lumber on the line.
Okay, Lumber, listen, first off, Jesus most definitely spoke of himself as the Son of God, but here's the thing, Lumber, you are at this time in your life a rejecter of Christ, which means you are not going to understand anything about the Word of God. You will consider it foolishness. It is written right in Scripture that the natural man receiveth not the things of the Lord, for they are foolish unto him. So, Lumber, you will see anything I say about the Word of God as foolishness because you have made up your mind to be a rejecter of Christ. So for us to sit here and spill out the Word of God to you where you're saying, show me this, show me that, it's futile. It would be casting our pearls. I'm not going to cast my pearls to the swine. I'm not going to give that which is holy to dogs. And, Lumber, that's what you are. And you think about the way you got onto this phone call and the things you said about our Lord. And don't you wonder or get your feelings hurt? Okay.
And I just wanted to say to Lumber, obviously he sounds like an Islamist, and it's his right to be that. But what I want to know is, give me some substance behind all these blanketed statements that you're making. You call my show, you make some derogatory statements. And let me tell you, I'm not one to suppress anybody's speech. Anybody who wants to say anything they want, they can say it. But provide some substance to back it up there, Lumber. Okay, I'm going to put you back here on the line here. Now, you need to calm down. We don't understand you. Now, I want you to go ahead and say your piece. I understand that you were trying to discredit Christianity or Catholicism by providing scriptures, and I'd really like to hear this logical fallacy. So go ahead, sir.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I apologize, but I have to say, who wrote the original Bible? They never called it. It was the Phoenicians who wrote the original text, not King James. The New Testament itself has 5,286 textual graphical errors. So you're reading a story like Jack and the Beanstalk, like Thomas Jefferson said. Now, Jesus not once in the whole mistranslation said he was the Son of God. He never said he was God. Never. That's why she cannot tell me a scripture that says he was. All he said he was a liar. And Romans 3 says he was the seed of David. And in the Phoenician text, even Genesis 1 contradicts itself where it says, and God created the earth, his form was null and void. No, it's in the beginning, Elohim came to the world, and his form was tohu vavohu. That's Phoenician for waste and desolation. That means they're talking about Elohim. Can I speak? Can I speak? Can you calm down? Can I speak?
Well, what you just said.
God in the plural.
Hold on. We're trying to take this.
It's through Mary.
Can I please speak?
Let's take this one issue at a time here. Let's take this one issue at a time.
I read Romans. You can't even give me a scripture. You're saying I'm futile. I'm reading your own book, discrediting your own religion. Jesus never said he was God, never said he was Lord. Elohim means God in the plural. That's Phoenician. That's where it came from. You've never read Phoenicians, okay? You've never cross-referenced the text. So you cannot say anything. You can say what King James.
All right. Now, we silenced Lumberlimb one more time here.
Can I respond to him?
Yeah, go right ahead. Lumberlimb, you're still coming in kind of loud. You're still coming in kind of overbearing out here. Go right ahead, Deborah.
And see, here's the thing, Lumber. You don't know the Word of God, and you certainly don't know how much I have studied Scripture, okay? And to argue the Word of God with Lumber is futile. It's absolutely futile, okay? What Ghost was wanting to know, Lumber, is why you would see fit to come onto a show where clearly there are people who worship Jesus and say the things you said. It's just not cool. And I know that, now I don't know, Ghost, are you Catholic?
No, I'm not. I'm not Catholic.
I'm a born-again believer. Are you a born-again believer?
Well, I mean, I don't like to assert my religious principle on this program. I like to put it more towards politics. But I believe that our roots as a country is Christian base. Yeah, Christianity had a lot to do with the unalienable rights that were given to us by our forefathers.
Exactly. And
but but you see, once you start asserting religion, that gives fodder to the liberals to chastise conservative Americans as religious nut jobs. This is the point. This is why I try to debate on this program with nothing but political ideology, social ideology. I even try to debate these liberals on their own front of evolution, on their own front of science.
So
and
that would be a good way to because I was looking for something that may be a little different between you and me to use as an example to lumber, okay? Because I was just looking for something that could be a little different between you and me. Lumber, okay, now Ghost and I, this is the first time that we've talked on a show together, and it's Ghost's show, okay? Now, Ghost, okay, he does not interject Christianity or his faith beliefs into his show. However, he has allowed me to, okay, so I do, and on my show I do. But here's the thing, we would not go on each other's show and start to demand or get angry at something that we may be a little different about or even greatly different. Who knows? There could be something down the road we could find out, Ghost. So far, I've agreed with you on everything, Ghost. But I mean,
well, I'm a pretty conservative man, so
what I'm getting at is that lumber, you obviously do not like our faith belief. You've got a problem. You've got a burr in your tush when it comes to the Lord. So my thing, lumber, is why on earth do you think that it's a cool thing to do what you did? Talk calmly if you want to ask some questions, but coming in and saying that, I think he said something in the very beginning. He gave references of, insulting Christ with sexuality. And it's like, that's just not cool. You're 35 years old, Lumber. Let's act it.
All right, now we're gonna put him on the line. Now, Lumber, we understand that, you've got some grievances here. Let's calm down, all right? Take the Kentucky Fried Chicken grease thumb out of your derriere, and let's try to talk about this rationally, all right? Now, are you there, Lumber?
Yeah, and by the way, I like Kentucky Fried Chicken, so I wouldn't put it in my asshole. Anyway,
okay, well, we'll go ahead and make the point.
All she knows how to say is futile, straw man argument. I read that they say Nazis, they call them a Nazi. Well, guess what? Hitler was a Catholic. Holocaust means whole burning. Catholics were burning Christians in World War II, and he died in 1992. So there you go, calling me Nazi, and I hope none of you are Catholic.
So what is your
point? My point, can I speak? I can't even speak.
Well, Lumber, you're all over the you're all over the place. Let's take it one issue at a time. We understand you got some grievances. All right. Now let's take it one issue.
It's not a grievance. Okay, this country, America, has one big giant Federal Reserve credit card, an entity of international bankers. Now, everybody on this modern day time is having a good time. Can I speak? I'll get to my point.
You're done talking about Hitler.
Hold on.
Futile.
All right.
Before you jump to the next. Okay.
Lumber, are you kidding me?
Lumber. Okay, Lumber, you made a comment about Hitler, so you got to let us respond to that, okay? As Robert Knight said to me just before I did my very first online interview, over the phone online interview, Robert Knight said to me, he goes, do you know the 30-second rule? Never heard of it before in my life, but I could figure out what that meant, and I said, I sure do, sir. And it means talk for about 30 seconds and let somebody else get something in, Lumber, okay? Hitler, yes, he claimed to be a Catholic, but it absolutely does not mean he was a Catholic. Anybody can say they are something and not be. And here's the thing, Lumber, I teach against true Catholicism. As a Christian, as a born-again Christian, I teach against true catechism Catholicism. I mean the devout Catholic who thinks that salvation comes through the Catholic Church. Okay, I teach against the true, and yet I know many born-again Christians are still call themselves Catholic, okay? So what I'm getting at is that I'm someone who is not Catholic to the point where I teach against true Catholicism, okay? And I will tell you right now, Hitler was not a real Catholic. So don't think that I'm someone who is out to defend true Catholicism. But I can tell you right now, Hitler was not a true Catholic. True Catholics do not do what Hitler did.
And, Lumber, I'm going to let you back on the horn here once again, but let's stick to a topic here. You're all over the place. You know, one minute you're talking about Hitler, the next minute you're talking about the damn Federal Reserve. Let's stick to a topic here. I'll be more than happy to debate you as well on any subject matter at hand. I'll make you look lower than Leprechaun's nutsack. Let's hear what you have to say there, son. Hello?
You see, I can't get to my point. I just keep being over-talked.
Well, let's hear it.
This feminist Christian idiot. Now, you see, Hitler, what, can I speak? Can I finish speaking?
30 seconds rule.
Okay. Why did the Vatican give them Nazi passports and Nazi red lights? Oh, yeah, well, I guess the Vatican's not Catholic either. But anyway, you enjoy having a great time on your unborn children's dime because that's what you're doing. And when you go to work, you're paying to go to work with credit, with tax. And guess what? This is a Catholic-run country, and I can't wait till globalization happens to see how all you Christians and Catholics are so stupid that you didn't even read your own book that Jesus said, I will come in your generation, and Matthew, he said it 5 times. Guess what? That was 2,000 years ago, and he didn't come back. So you tell me, when is Jesus coming back? When is he coming back? Is he going to come back in a plane? Is he going to come back on a magic carpet? Or is he going to be eaten again? Because if he comes down here and I'm hungry, I might as well eat him because the Bible says to eat Jesus. So
Okay,
why don't you go eat your Jesus and shit on your kids and have a good time on their dime, because I will masturbate on your children.
Oh, okay, that lumber limb, that's just horrible. I had to cut you off on that.
Now, see, that proves his mentality.
That was just disgusting.
That proves his mentality, okay, that he said that at the end. It just proves his mentality. Okay, he doesn't know the first thing about Scripture. He's an angry, angry man. He's a very angry man. He doesn't understand Scripture. You know what it's like? You know what it's like, Ghost? It would be like me going over and yelling up a storm in English to, in France, to people who speak French. Yelling up a storm in English saying, y'all don't know what you're talking about, you don't know what you're doing, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, when I don't understand a word of what they're saying. Okay? And this is this man. He doesn't understand a word of Christianity. And he's yelling it in his dirty words.
And it's horrible. It's just unbelievable. Well, Deborah, I'm going to go ahead and move on. Did you want to go ahead and have any last words?
Well, I'm glad to get to know you here. I'll listen to the rest of your show.
I really appreciate your commentary, Deborah.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Well, you know, folks, let me tell you, this was a pretty decent conversation. Everybody who knows my program, everybody who listens to the True Conservative radio show understands that, I'm a true conservative. I'm not somebody who's just going to sit up here and talk out both sides of my mouth. I'm not going to sit here and bow down to a Republican Party that has been hijacked by a bunch of liberals. And at the same time, I'm not going to bow down to feminism, and I have taken heat for it. I've been banned from MySpace for it. I've had just terrible censorship come my way because I'm trying to advocate morality. I'm trying to advocate the family out here. And let me tell you, single-parent families are now the majority of the day, and that's just wrong, folks. That's why I come up on this program to continue to broadcast. Anyway, folks, I'd like for you all, if you could, to bookmark my page. Like I said, I have been banned from MySpace. Now I have myself a brand new page. As a matter of fact, I won the membership to this particular community on eBay, ipolitic.net/ghost. All right, please bookmark that page. That's my personal profile. It's ipolitic.net/GHOST. It's right there on my Blog Talk Radio Network profile. Get back to me. Make sure to comment on my page. I'm going to be blogging from there from now on. I'm going to be trying to facilitate discourse, facilitate debate about certain issues, about American social structure, about the American family. And that's what I'm about, folks. That's what this True Conservative radio show is about. It's about family. It's about preserving the sanctity of marriage. It's about helping the social structure of America. You know, it's brilliant. And let me tell you, this new community that I belong to, it's at its very, very beginning. I mean, it's at its infancy. But I like the concept. It's purely political. ipolitic.net. You can create a profile. You can create blogs, write articles, chat in chat rooms, chat in forums. It's purely political. It is literally the MySpace of politics, and I can't wait for more people to join it so I can help in creating some sort of debate, some sort of line of communication out here to help facilitate conservatism, because that's what we need, folks. We need conservative values out here. We don't need this liberal crap anymore. This liberal crap has infected our lives. It has infected our lives, folks. And this is what I've been talking about. This is the thing, this is what I've been saying all along. I'm not some crack pipe out here. You know, and this is what I don't understand, folks. This is what I want you to ask yourself, okay? Because everybody who listens to me on a consistent basis knows that I'm not some idiot out here trying to advocate some damn lunacy or something. I'm not somebody advocating any hate. I'm not advocating nothing but morality. I'm advocating the American family out here. What the Republican Party used to do. I remember the conservative movement. The conservative movement was the root foundation of the Republican Party, and now the Republican Party spits on us. They make us look like idiots, folks. That's why I come up on here on a consistent basis, folks, because I can see it. I can see the red sun in the horizon out here. I can see the communism that is infecting each and every one of our lives. I mean, can you believe this economic stimulus package, folks? This economic stimulus package is a damn slippery slope down socialist path, and I don't know what it's going to take for people to understand this. I mean, wake up. This is a country made for the people, by the people, but the damn people are asleep at the wheel because it's chic to be a dumbass. I mean, let me tell you something, folks. People are so dumb out here, they will drown a damn goldfish. That's how stupid people are out here in America. And I hate to say it, folks. I really do hate to say it. I wish I had a little bit more optimism. I wish that I could say that I can see something in the horizon that's going to change American social society. But I don't, folks. I don't. And that's why I come up on here and I try to facilitate debate. That's why you can hear the passion in my voice about what I believe in, because I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. I'm not some moron trying to put forth some ridiculous notion out here. Everything I say on this program, all right, everything I say on this program, I tell you to go out and look it up for yourself, folks. All right, I believe in freedom, okay? I don't know about you folks out there. All right, maybe you folks like to live in authoritarian communism. Maybe you folks like for people to tell you how to think, how to feel, what to look at, what to say. Maybe you want to be authoritarian. I don't, folks. I want to be in freedom. That's what it's about. I want the freedom of thought out here. I want the American dream back, damn it! Remember that? Remember the American dream, folks? Remember you could be born into nothing and come out and be something out here in society? Let me tell you something, folks. That day and age is almost about gone. It's almost about gone because everybody has fallen asleep at the wheel out here. We're electing power-hungry autocrats into Washington, D.C. that have no moral fiber, that could give two rat's asses about the American family, that could give two rat's asses about abortion, that could give two rat's asses about morality. That's why we're in the situation that we're in here, folks. That's why I'm not voting for any of these people for president out here. I know better. I know that there's nothing but liberalism on either side, folks. John Turncoat McCain or Barack Hussein Obama. It's liberalism, either which way you look at it, and it makes me want to puke. And it should make you want to puke, too. That's why I am not voting for any of these people. I should do what Deborah suggested, write in Duncan Hunter, write in Mickey Mouse, write in Donald Duck or some crap. I've already written off the presidential elections, folks, because true conservatism has been isolated here by both of these imbeciles. I think that us as conservatives out there, and if you're a true conservative, if you have any moral fiber to yourself, if you believe in the American family, if you believe that marriage is a sacred bond between a male and a female, if you believe that conservative views, conservative ideology should be at the focal point of politics, we need to come together, folks. We need to come together. We need to know who we are. We need to identify each other and say that's a conservative right there, and we need to support each other. We need to instill conservative values to our children. We need to do it, folks, because if we don't, I'm telling you, this is the end of the family. This is the end of what we know of as the true essence of humanity out here. Because the liberals are winning. They're winning, and they are in powerful positions in our society, folks. And if you don't want to believe it, you can continue living on in la-la land out there. But let me tell you something, folks. What we need to do is, I'm talking about the conservative movement out there. The conservative movement. The conservative movement needs to come together, and we need to start electing people at a local level, at a regional level, at a state level, at a Senate level, congressional level. That's what we need to do, folks. We need to come together out here. Okay, because let me tell you, this ridiculous notion out here of electing Barack Hussein Obama or John Turncoat McCain, it's just not an option, folks. I mean, if you have any kind of conservative values to yourself, it's not a damn option, for Christ's sake. We need to start coming together as conservative people. And we need to start electing politicians with conservative values. You understand that? Conservative values, conservative principles, folks. And that's all there is to it. That is all there is to it, folks. And anybody who tries to discredit the conservative movement, anybody who tries to subjugate the conservative movement into nothing more than a bunch of crack pipes, well, you know who those people are, and there ain't nothing but a bunch of red-blooded liberals. And what I mean by red-blooded liberals, I'm talking about communist red. I'm talking about Vladimir Lenin red, folks. And that's all there is to it, folks. Anyway, I got about 13 minutes left on the program. If you have any last words, 646-652-4869 is the number to call. I urge you all to go to ipolitic.net/ghost. That's ipolitic.net/ghost. Bookmark the page. That's my profile, folks. I strongly advise you to get a profile out there. And I'm going to be hanging out there from now on. I mean, if you want to battle wits with me, I will make you look like a mental midget for all you liberals that think that you can battle wits with me right here. All right? And that's all there is to it. You meet me in the chat rooms on ipolitic.net, and I will be there, and I will make you look lower than Roseanne Barr chasing after a greasy cheeseburger with her fat hands tied behind her back, and there's going to be nothing you can do about it. Because I'm going to provide too much substance on the debating table, folks. I'm not some Nimrod that doesn't know his ass from his elbow out here. And that's all there is to it, folks. ipolitic.net/ghost. And we need to come together, folks. I have a conservative group on there. You could join the conservative group, write conservative blogs, do whatever it takes, folks. We need to come together, damn it. I'm not joking around. This is not some game we're playing out here. We're losing the family out here. The family is becoming extinct. It's not limited to America, folks. This is a Western phenomenon, folks. You take a look at Australia with 75% divorce rate, Germany with 70% divorce rate. You take a look at most westernized countries out here, they are suffering from the same immoral phenomena as America, but at even rapid pace. And let me tell you something, folks. I'm telling you, we need to come together. We need to start understanding this phenomenon, what is happening out here. We need to start getting some moral integrity, all right? And let me tell you, for you folks out there that are atheists, secularists, whatever you are, you don't have to be somebody who believes in religion to have moral ethos, okay? Moral ethos, folks. I mean, that's all it takes is a little moral ethos, all right? I remember a time when you were shunned, all right? You were outcasted if you had a child out of wedlock, folks. Do you remember those times? I don't know about you, but I remember. I mean, it wasn't that too long ago, folks. And that was a socially accepted moral ethos perspective. But now all of a sudden, if you are an individual who happens to have children and still have the spouse that you conceived those children with, now all of a sudden you look like an outcast yourself because you're abiding by moral principle, moral integrity. And I don't understand why this has become socially acceptable. I don't understand why it's become the social norm out here. I don't understand why the social ills have become the social norm. It makes me want to puke, and it should make you sick as well, folks. It should make you sick at will. I mean, I'm stumbling over my own tongue like Al Gore trying to explain how he invented the internet because I'm so flabbergasted at the amount of moral bankruptcy here in America. And of course, if you try to approach these notions, if you try to have some sort of discourse about the skewing, ridiculous moral bankruptcy of America, people start pointing fingers at you like you're the bad guy. I mean, that's what's happened to yours truly here, folks. All right? Because I'm advocating morality, okay? Because I'm advocating for the family. I'm the bad guy. I never thought I'd ever live in a day and age where my thinking is considered radical. I'm a radical because I want to save the family. What kind of sick mentality is this? I mean, what kind of a liberal hellhole am I living in? I mean, is it me, folks? Am I too conservative for my own good? I'm not second-guessing myself, folks, because I believe in what I say. You can hear the damn passion, all right? I believe this. I believe in what I say. I believe in conservatism. I'm not somebody who's going to talk out both sides of their mouth, folks. Okay? And people, I'm telling you, man, I'm telling you, you folks should have the same passion for what you believe in. If you believe in something and you don't have passion for it, well, then maybe you don't believe in that crap. Maybe you need to start rethinking what you are interpreting as the right thing to do. If you don't feel right, if you don't feel the passion for it, well, then maybe it's not the right thing to do. And this is all I'm suggesting to you folks out there. This is all I'm suggesting. All right? I don't understand why I have become some sort of a radical out here. I just don't understand it. I just don't understand it at all. Anyway, folks, I've got about 7 minutes left in the program. I wanted to thank both brilliant ladies that were on in the beginning of the program. No Compromise, which is a frequent listener of the program. I thank her patronage all the time. And Deborah, who were providing some great anti-feminist, anti-liberal, pro-conservative discourse on this program. I really appreciate it because let me tell you, I take a lot of flack, all right? I take a lot of flack from feminists that email me all kinds of hatred filth. I mean, you couldn't even imagine the amount of filth that is emailed into my inbox. It's disgusting. I just don't understand why women are actually, I hate to generalize, folks, and I'm sorry, but the majority of westernized women out here are equating woman liberation, and this is the feminist movement, folks. This is the definition of the feminist movement. They are equating sexual promiscuousness. They are equating having about 5 or 6 different divorces. They are equating all these issues with woman liberation. All right, woman liberation. And it's horrible, folks. It's horrible out here. And that's why I'm critical of feminism. All right? I mean, that's why I'm not anti-woman. You see, that's what these feminists want you to do. They try to throw these methods of agitation at you to try to, skew the mind a little bit, trying to, make the mind a little bit in disarray. Let me tell you something. I am not anti-woman. If I was anti-woman, I wouldn't have had those wonderful ladies provide excellent conservative discourse at the beginning of this program. All right, folks? I mean, I am all about the family, folks, and that's what it should be about. That's what you should be about. That is the true essence of humanity, all right? The true essence of humanity is family, folks. That's what keeps people going. And I've said it, and I'm going to continue to say it. If you look at the most oppressed times in world history, and it doesn't matter what time you're looking at, when people were in serfdom, when people were in slavery, when people were oppressed, what kept people alive? What kept people going, folks? Family. And don't you ever forget it. Because the damn liberals and the feminists want you to forget it. They want to trivialize family. They want to trivialize having 5 or 6 different divorces like it's no big deal. It is a big deal, all right? All right? You women that are out here using abortion as birth control, it's a damn big deal, and you better look at yourself in the mirror, all right? Look at yourself in the mirror and spit in that mirror. Spit in your face because you deserve it and you're despicable. And that's all there is to it, folks. That is all there is to it. Don't palate this liberal crap. Don't palate this feminist crap. All right? It has infected America. It has infected everybody's minds. That's why these damn communists/liberals out here are utilizing political correctness to suppress other people's political persuasion out here. That's the whole agenda around liberalism, folks. The whole agenda around feminism. They want to control the way you think, the way you feel. And I'm about freedom, folks. I don't know about you. I don't know about your authoritarian ass, but I'm about freedom. And that's all there is to it, folks. We had some great conservative discussion this evening. Once again, I want to thank No Compromise. I want to thank Deborah. And I want to thank them for providing great conservative discourse. We've got 3 minutes left on the program, folks. Whether you're listening to me live or in the archive, I appreciate your patronage. Once again, if you'd like to get back to me, you can get back to me at my profile because I got banned from MySpace. My profile address is ipolitic.net. That's ipolitic.net/ghost. Be sure to go ahead and bookmark that page. And, if you'd like, I hate to be promoting this community, but by all means, go on that community. It's free. Join the membership. I'm going to be in the chat rooms. I'm going to be in the forums. I'm going to be blogging from ipolitic.net. From now on, folks, because I understand that the blogosphere, okay, the blogosphere is one of the most powerful tools to try to help facilitate debate or create new ideas for people out here. I mean, it helped reconstruct this whole liberalization of the Republican Party, for Christ's sake. So I strongly advise you, folks, if you're a true conservative or whatever you believe in, whatever your political persuasion is, go out there and amplify it at ipolitic.net. Because let me tell you something, that is the MySpace of politics. It is purely political. It allows people video, audio, blogs, the whole 9 yards. And let me tell you something, I won the very first membership to that community, and I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Anyway, folks, some computerized crap just said I got 90 seconds left. Once again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in with me. This is another edition of True Conservative Radio. I want to thank everybody who listens to me, whether you listen to me live or in the archive. I'm going to try to make this show a little bit more consistent, a little bit more frequent. I'm sorry, I got cut off again by some computer saying 50 seconds. But I'm going to try to make this show a little bit more frequent, folks. Please bookmark my page at ipolitic.net/ghost. And I'm going to try to make it more frequent, folks. I'm sorry. This show has been a cause of my high blood pressure. My doctor has suggested to stop doing the show, but I'm not going to do it because I believe in conservatism, folks. I believe in this country. And that's why I continue to come up on here and try to spread conservatism, and I strongly advise you to do the same. Thank you for tuning in with me, folks. ipolitic.net/ghost. Long live the conservative movement and death to feminism. Thank you all for tuning in with me, folks. Until next time, bookmark the page, ipolitic.net/ghost.
Buy a smartphone with GoPhone and get one free when you activate required lines of service and both devices on a qualifying rate plan with a $45 refill. AT&T, mobilizing your world. Offer ends May 31st, 2016. Valid on select phones at AT&T company-owned stores, which require new line of service on purchased phone, and participating authorized retail stores, which require new lines of service on both. Both phones require minimum $45 per month rate plan and $45 refill at time of sale in same transaction. Free phone must be equal or lesser value. See store for details.